thought this was the final forum question. I was wrong. The next question is from Rockman303, and he says, Phil, I've got a bit of a personal question. I'm a 24-year-old African-American male who loves rock and metal, wrestling, video games. I have a girlfriend who's Caucasian. For the past 3 years, and throughout my life, I've been teased and bullied for not being black enough, and even called a sellout for not liking a lot of the things in black culture, such as rap music, women of my own race, and for speaking articulately. I never seem to fit in with a lot of people of my own kind. Do you have any tips of overcoming it? Well, I certainly cannot speak from that perspective because obviously I'm white. I would be a really ignorant asshole to say, oh yeah, I know all about it, let me tell you. No, what I can tell you is from my perspective. When I was growing up, okay, at first, it's kind of weird. It was two completely separate situations. When I was growing up, my neighborhood was primarily minorities, and what I mean by that is non-white people. They were moving into the neighborhood. My next door neighbors on both sides were actually from Puerto Rico, and then I actually had another friend of mine who was black, and really I only had one white friend in my neighborhood when I was a kid. Most of the kids in my neighborhood were more minorities, and because of that, I was actually treated as, like, the odd kid out. Like, oh, that Phil, you know, he's the one, his parents do these weird things that our parents don't do, you know, and this and that, and they would always come over, and for me, you know, I was always raised of the mentality that if I had a toy, or if I had something that I was playing with, I had to, like, treat it pristine, right? Now, I'm not saying don't take it out of the packaging. I'm saying when you play with it, you treat it, you clean it off, you be careful. These kids would say, oh, look at the toy, and they'd smash it against a brick wall, would break it to a million pieces, and if you got upset with them, they would literally be like, I don't understand why you're upset. That's what you do with toys. You break them. So for me, it was like a different culture clash. Or in my culture, you know, everything was about being clean and pristine and being careful and all of that. And they were like not like that just because that's how they were raised, right? And then when I ended up going to high school and college, ended up being almost the polar opposite. So I was white, but I wasn't rich. And almost all of the kids who I went to school with in my, you know, later years of schooling were more kind of upper class, white people who had tons of money, their families owned businesses. You know, my best friend in high school, his dad was a contractor who owned his own business, he owned multiple homes, he owned a boat, he had like multiple cars, he bought his son a freaking Camaro to drive around. And for me, it's like, I don't have anything like that. You know, I'm very, very middle class. The most I'm scraping, you know, a few bucks together here or there to do stuff. And I didn't have any kind of crazy amount of money like this guy had. This guy had a stocked bar at his house. We would have wild parties and stuff. It was just out of control. So it was kind of the flip side. So really, it didn't matter where I was. I never really fit in. I was either I don't want to say upper class, but just like a different culture. When I was younger in my neighborhood, I was the one white kid, the odd man out. And then when I went to school, I ended up being the poor kid, the kid who doesn't have a lot of money or a lot of opportunity or anything like that. Like everyone else around me had all this money or whatever, and I didn't have it. So for me, it was never like I never fit in, right? And in particular, in high school, I could tell you, in high school, the kids were just, you had to be in a clique. If you weren't in a clique in high school, you were like, you were ostracized. You were the black sheep, right? So there were the jocks, there were the kind of almost minorities in the school who kind of hung out together and did stuff together like that. There were kids who were kind of athletic, but they weren't the jocks. They were more like mid-level athletic. There were the more artsy-fartsy kids who went out and did things like, you know, the art club, or they did the musicals or the plays and stuff like that. There really were, and they were like, then of course you have, like I said, the upper class echelon kids who were rich, and they were like, oh, we're part of the Key Club, and we're all about, you know, doing the, God, what was it called? I can't remember. You know, like charity stuff and stuff like that, because they felt they had to give back to society, because they were rich, so we have to give back so we feel good about ourselves and stuff like that. And by the way, I'm not saying every Key Club's like that. I'm saying very much in my school, that's what it was like. It was like, oh, we're rich, so we had to give back to these underprivileged people. I didn't fit into any of those, and really, you know, it was like, people to me were just kind of like, who are you? You don't really have an identity. You know, when I look at Phil, I don't see the nerd, I don't see the jock, I don't see the bully, but I certainly don't see the kid, you know, who's the wimp, but I don't see, you know, I didn't fit into anything in high school. And because of that, I almost became kind of my own group. We were kind of like the outsiders. It was me and my best friend, and then later on we brought in like 2 or 3 other people who always hung out with us. And we really were kind of like the outsider group. We didn't have anything to do with anyone else. And it wasn't even like we had things in common necessarily. It was kind of more like our thing in common was that we didn't have anything else in common with other people. Really weird, I know. But that was kind of it, because it was funny, because myself and my best friend were more into geeky stuff. Like, we liked video games, and we liked stuff like that. But also, we were kind of into sports. At one point, we were actually going to join the lacrosse team, and we were preparing for it. We were practicing for it and everything. And then I had one kid who was kind of like, he didn't want to be in sports. He didn't want nothing. He just wanted to kind of be like, almost like a bum. But he was funny. He was a funny kid, and a lot of people got along with him. And then we had another kid that was just a weirdo. I mean, and he had some issues up here, I think, because of some of the weird shit that he did. But the bottom line is this. At least from my perspective. You're never going to perfectly fit in. You're not. And in fact, these people who perfectly fit into these groups, right? What they're basically doing is they're conforming, and they're giving up some of their originality for the sake of, oh, I don't want to be the one who's picked on, right? I want to be the one who's protected because I conform with this certain group, and obviously there's other people who are just like me. There must be something right with what I'm being, right? Now, I'm not saying that in your life you should actively try to not fit in with anyone. It's okay if you find people with similar interests or similar, likes and similar things that you like to do. It's fine to meld or gel with those people. That's perfectly cool. But you shouldn't feel massively pressured to do so just so that you can fit in and not be bullied. You know what I mean? And the bottom line is, people who are going to bully you and say, well, you don't fit in, you're so weird and different, haha, like your particular situation here. So I'm black, but I don't like the things that other black kids like rap and stuff like that. I don't like to date, black girls. So what? Everyone should have the ability to choose. Everyone should have that. And if they choose something that's not the societal norm, well, so what? Everyone's different. Everyone's an individual. If everyone were the same, if every person who was white was this preppy rich kid, and every kid who was black was into rap and into urban stuff and stuff like that, and every Asian was into, oh, I'm totally into kung fu and anime, but I'm also a nerdy kid who's good at math, and if everyone was the stereotype, the world would be fucking boring as shit. Because it would all be predetermined by what you were born, and we don't control that. I wasn't controlled that I was born white, and I didn't choose. There was no, when I was, wherever I came from, there was no checklist. Would you like to be this, or this? And you push one and you gamble on what you got, right? That's not the case, so why would you hold it against anyone that they were born something and they decide that maybe they like something else that's not the norm or not the stereotype or generalization for what they typically are? I think it's stupid. I don't think color should factor into anything. I've always said that. I've had friends in my entire life of any color. I don't care what fucking color you are. That's the last thing on my mind when I meet someone is the color of their skin. Seriously, I don't see color. I don't see color at all. I don't see it. I judge people based off of, do we have something in common? How do they behave towards me? You know what I mean? Like, things that make sense. And if anything, the internet, right, in this day and age, has really made it a more anonymous thing. I have fans, I have viewers, I have people who I talk to on a regular basis over the internet. I don't know what they are. I don't care what background you come from, what color your skin is, what cultural norms you're supposed to have. If you like my stuff, great. We're all of the same mindset then, and that's an awesome thing that we all have in common. I don't care if there's some kid who likes my stuff, but he's being told that he should like this. That's ridiculous. I don't understand how people can be like that. And honestly, it's because they're insecure. So, if you're in one of these cliques, and you see a kid who maybe, is not like you, but is supposed to be, now you feel, well, maybe, I second guess myself. Maybe this clique isn't, oh man, I gotta make it so that it looks like this clique is the right choice. Because if that kid makes it cool to be different, right? Now I'm not different. So now I'm not cool anymore, and I'll be the one that'll be bullied and won't be. It's ridiculous. These castes and these cliques and things that we form are so fucking stupid. Get over it. It's so kiddie. It's like you're so afraid of being trampled over in life and being made fun of or whatever and not being taken seriously that you really feel that you need to conform. I mean, no, I've never been like that. I've never conformed to anything. And look at me, right? Like, that's why I think a lot of the times people don't really like things that I do or say. I don't conform to YouTube norms. Certainly not. If anything, I'm the polar opposite of what it is, the archetype of success for being a gaming YouTuber, right? But I pride myself on that I'm different, that I'm opinionated, that I try to be different and I try to be fair.
And I'm not doing this for money. And
I'm not doing this for fame. I'm doing it for the love of doing it. And to say that I feel that there's legitimacy to what I do, And I'm not an actor. I'm not a full-time entertainer, even though you may be entertained by what I do. That's not what my goal isn't, to just sit here and make you laugh like I'm a clown or something. I pride myself on that. And you should strive to be yourself and to find something individual to you that you like. And if it fits in with the cultural norms or not, whatever, be yourself. Now, it's going to be tough. You're always going to have people who are going to try to hold you down. You're always going to have people who are going to make fun of you and say, you're not like us. You're not like what it's supposed to be. But they're probably doing it because they're insecure themselves. Like I said, God forbid that they look at themselves and realize maybe what I'm doing isn't the cool thing. And that person's cooler than me, right? Or that's the more appealing or fun thing to do. Now I got to bring them down because I'm not like them. The whole negativity, drama, clicky fucking bullshit about youth is just so silly. And I'm so happy to be out of it. I am. Like, I see it happen on YouTube all the time. People get pulled into this shit. And I'm like, I'm so past it. I'm 34 years old. Like, I don't have to worry about that shit ever again. Even though it's funny because YouTubers everything, the gaming industry, very clicky. I'm not a hipster. I'm not a geek. But I'm also not like the entertainer-style YouTuber. I don't fit in with anyone on YouTube. You can't fit me into any kind of an archetype on YouTube.
So therefore, I'm the black sheep of YouTube.
But fuck it. I'll do what I want. I'll do it my way. And the bottom line is, I've been here since 2008. I've done this for a living since 2011. I'm still fucking here. I'm still going strong. I'm not going anywhere. Doesn't matter what people throw at me, what name they call me or whatever, how they group me. Oh, he's not like this or that. He's doing this wrong. I'm gonna be me. And I'm okay with that. As long as I'm true to myself, I'm okay with that. Right? And I'm still here. So someone's looking out for me, right? Because I'm still here and I'm still able to do it. Alright.